Hello and welcome back to another video on the Singer EM9305 embroidery sewing machine. In the previous video I did on this machine, I showed, just unpacking the machine, what you get with the machine, and just running through some of the basics of the machine. And this video will be covering some of the more advanced features. And I've been having a wee play. I've done this embroidery here for my niece. She's 8 years old. I think she'll like this. So just having a wee play with the lettering there, the basting. I'll go through that. There's the basting line around here, and yeah, just general use, really, just getting to know the machine. Some of the things I'll go through today will include, basic positioning of the likes of text and embroidery designs, things like scaling, rotating, positioning in different places on the hoop. Also, recovering from a thread breakage or the bobbin running out. Just some of the adjustments that are available. The thread trimming, the automatic thread trimming feature that you would have seen in the previous episode there. Step-by-step positioning. And so that's where you position, by individual stitches. You can get right down to the stitch level and position the machine. That's handy when recovering from a thread break or something like that. So I'll go through, design the colours that make up these designs, the different colours of thread. And you can see that on the screen. I'll show you that in more detail later on. But this, likes of this pattern here, this has many more colours than what I've used here. I've got a very limited selection of coloured threads, and especially embroidery thread, and so this is reasonably simplified, I think. Yeah, that one there uses quite a few different colours, shades of blue and shades of brown, things like that. So I just substituted colours in, really. And the other thing I wanted to show you also is positioning another design. So these triangle designs are actually individual designs. So what I did is I stitched out this design here first, and then remove the hoop. I didn't remove the fabric, I just removed the hoop from the machine, reinstalled the hoop, set this design here up, and rotated, from, this is the default orientation, so I rotated it 90 degrees to bring it into this orientation here, and then so you position a point on the design there where you want it to start off, and then line up the hoop to match, so that you can get these designs here placed exactly where you want them. They may be adjacent to each other, they may be touching. You can see there that it's not quite touching. It's very close. I probably should have, in hindsight, just brought it over a little bit to close that gap up. But those are the little things you'll learn as you go, really. So let's get down to doing some embroidery here, and I'll show you the ins and outs of some of the more advanced features. Okay. So the basic design positioning, what I want to do here is I want to line up my next design. So if we have a look closer here, I want to stitch another triangle in this area here, and another one. I was just going to make a block, really, out of all these triangles here. So what I want to do is I want to just choose a position on the design that's nice and easy to match up with the other design, the already stitched out design. And I think, possibly this corner here, or even this corner in here might be quite a good place to start there. So I'll show you how to do that. This is the design I've just stitched out. We come back out of the stitch out mode. It says to remove the hoop. You don't have to. You can click OK and remove the hoop, or you can cancel removing the hoop, and then we can select this design here. We can just go ahead and add another one in. So what I want to do here is show you sort of starting afresh with positioning a design here. So I'll delete that one, and then we'll go back into the start menu. We'll choose the design that I've been working with, that's number 1 here, and then we want to scale that. So I've scaled that down because this is the 240 by 150 hoop size here, and you can see that it's taking up quite a bit of room in the hoop there. So what I've been doing is I've been scaling it down, so I've just hit Alt there, and these are the positioning, rotation, your scaling, and your pan and zoom. So what I want to do is just hit the scale one there, and I just want to drag this down to the smallest I can get it. So you can resize like that just by dragging, or you can resize with the up and down like that. Okay, and the ratios are locked, so the vertical and the horizontal ratios are locked here. If you wanted to stretch your design, you can unlock the padlock there, and then you can just literally, you know, do this sort of thing where you can stretch it. So you can stretch it vertically, you can reduce it, you can stretch it horizontally, that sort of thing there. But at this stage I just want that locked there. Take it to 100%, I'll rescale it to its smallest size. Yep, just checking it's at its smallest size there. And then we want to rotate, so if I click Alt there again, go to rotate, and you can do increments of 90 degrees. Like that, or you can do this manually change the angle here, 16 degrees, 23. But I want 90, so, well, I want 180 actually. So let's just go 90 and then flip it twice with the 90 here. That's all good there. So we've got the design orientated, we've got it scaled. Now we just want to, you'd think, you know, you can just position that there, but the problem is there's no other reference in the screen here as to what's already been stitched out. You know, you can't see those two other blocks that I've stitched onto the fabric there. So what you can do is you can go to another mode. You hit go here. Now that's not going to start the machine. That's really just to put you into the stitch out mode, okay? And the hoop did a little bit of positioning there. So setting the locking point on the screen here. So we talked about using the point here, down here, as the locking point here. So if we click this icon here, and then you've got two steps to this. You've got the on-screen locking point, and then you've got the locking point for the hoop. I think that's the start point for the embroidery there. So the locking point is not necessarily the start point either. So we want to come down to this bottom point here, and you've got these little shortcut arrows here. So you can go top left corner, bottom left, center, bottom right, top right. If we go there, let's just choose the center. I'm just going to bring that down, and then oops, you can manually adjust with these arrow keys here as well. If we want to zoom in on this area, you can see that, you know, you don't know exactly where that point is. It's zoomed out too far. So you hit Alt here and you go to zoom, and we'll zoom on the point here. That's zoom on the point, that's to view the entire hoop as we're viewing here now. That one there is zoom to all, and that one there is zoom to box. But I'm just going to be using these two here in the meantime. So if we zoom to the point here, you can see it zoomed right in on that there. So we want to be right at the end, this bottom stitch here, there. Yep, so you can see the cursor there, the crosshair is right on that bottom stitch point there. And now what we want to do is we want to click that button there so that we can line the hoop up with the start point. You see, at the moment the machine doesn't know where this point is here that we want to start. It doesn't know that because it hasn't remembered, you know, because I deleted these designs out of the memory. It doesn't know where that is. So I'm just going to use the little cursor arrows here. Or drag like that. So you can get it roughly right with this just by dragging around. I'll show you that. So just get it roughly where we want it. In fact, you can bring the needle down slightly. You don't want to bring the needle too far down, as you know, you don't want it catching on the fabric there. It's asking me to raise the needle. Close-ish. Bring the needle down just slightly, and then we can use, I'm using the arrow keys here. Up and down, left and right arrow keys here. So that's what I'm doing to do this finer positioning. You can bring the needle down a little bit more. That's probably about right there. So we'll bring the needle back up there. So now the locking point on the screen matches the locking point on the hoop. So we click OK on that now. And we are ready to start stitching here. Now I'm getting a little bit quicker at threading now after doing it a few times. Now I've found that I don't really need the netting. If you saw the previous video I did on this machine, you'll notice you know, I had a little problem where the thread fell down onto this gap here and trapped the thread there, but you know, and I used a netting to help with that, but I've found actually that I'm not having that problem. It must have just been a fluke that it happened that time, but yeah, I've got the threading pretty well sorted out now. You'll also notice that the locking point is not relative to the start point. Ready to start here, hit the start button. I'll come back when that's finished there. Okay, threaded in black. And let's see, does it start on the left-hand side here, maybe? Let's go. Yep. Yeah, I can see that's going to overlap a little bit, which, you know, that's probably a better thing. But I guess it depends, really. Depends if you want it overlapping or not. But yeah, pretty sure that's going to overlap. Yeah, that noise you can hear is just the needle punching through embroidery that's already been done. So that's definitely overlapping there. Okay, all done there. That looks pretty good there. So there's no gap in here this time. So it's really just a matter of getting to know your machine, really. That I needed to bring that closer there. What I'll do is I'll finish off the remaining design to go in here, and then I'll come back and we'll look at maybe just putting some text along top and bottom maybe. So I'll go ahead and stitch that out, and but let's take a look at some other features here. Yeah, so that was really just an experiment. I chose these designs here that would show the locking positions for, you know, both the on-screen and hoop positioning, locking positions there. Just quickly show you here. While I'm here, we can save this design here. If we go to the little folder icon here, no, we've got to come out of stitch out mode. It's asking to remove the hoop, I'm not going to. And we come out of there, we go across to the files there. This is the built-in storage memory here. You can also plug in a USB stick. USB device here will light up if there's a USB drive plugged in there. It will accept any USB drive. I'm not sure what the maximum capacity of the drive is, but the machine comes with a 1 gigabyte drive and it must be formatted FAT32. So that, yeah, that's just a special format for the USB drive. It's a Windows format. But you can format the USB device on a Mac or a Linux computer just as long as it's FAT32. And then, you know, I've got a folder here. Well, my files is actually the built-in memory, and I've created a folder here. Hold that. Yep, hold down. That was the one I saved earlier for my niece with the bird on it. And we can just give it a name. You can just tap in the name here, so you can delete. So one click on the trash can here will delete one character. If you hold it down, it'll delete the entire line there. So I'll just call it test again. Yeah, and click OK, and then save there, and it will save it to the internal memory there. So you can see I've got the 2 files there in the temp folder. Okay, and you have to hold that to go into the temp folder. You can tap it to select it or deselect it and hold to enter. Alright, so next thing I'd like to do is show you how to do some text here and also go through the basting feature as well. Now, if I come out, can I select that and delete it? Yes, we're probably zoomed in here. Go. Let's show the whole hoop. And then if we choose text, we'll choose the large. Oh, let's do one of each. Okay, so this is size 12. These are the built-in fonts. So we're on uppercase. If we tap down here, we get lowercase, and then we get numbers over here and special characters. So size, let's just do size 12 space. Yep. Size 12. Okay. What we can do is, you know, I'm just positioning that on the screen there, bearing in mind that the start point is going to be the bottom left of the letter S. So, you know, that's pretty good there. Maybe, who knows? That's the thing. You don't know exactly, because the screen no longer shows these designs, as you can see. As you can see there, those designs are no longer in the memory of the computer as such. Well, they're stored, but they're not active. Okay, I didn't save this design as a full design. I saved just this one block here. That was the test block I saved. Okay, so as far as the embroidery machine goes, it doesn't know about this block at all. So what we can do is we can baste around there. just to get an idea of where this is going to stitch here, because we don't know how wide the stitching is. We don't know how long this line of text is going to be. So what we can do is we can use this little basting feature here, the little button here. We click that and then hit go. And you can see on the screen here, we've got the basting line around the lettering there. And we've got a fairly good idea that it's coming, this will be the right hand side. You can also see that the cursor's on the right side here, and that's the position of the right side of the text here. So start point was around here somewhere. What I would like to do is I'd like to step through this without actually stitching it, just so that I can get a rough idea of, you know, the positioning. If we go Alt here, where we've got a few options here. This is thread tension. Okay, so we're set to 2.8, that's the default. We don't want to adjust that. This here is a step by step. So with these bottom arrows here, we can step the machine through. So we can just step. This is the basting line. So I guess if you wanted to, you know, get really fussy, you could, you know, come to the very right hand side of its travel there. You could mark that, I guess, just by bringing the needle down and use a little marker. And then you come across right to the left hand throw there, and that's the bottom left, and you could mark that and you could measure it, you know, and so you could get quite fussy, I think, with positioning here. But just for this demonstration, we'll stick with that one there. So pretty happy with that. It looks to be within Kui. I think it's just by judging it, it's probably going to be a little bit too far to the left, but I'm not going to worry too much about that at this stage. Let's just stitch that out, and we'll go from there. So we don't really need to do anything at all if we're happy with the positioning. We can baste it. Let's just run that and go. Here we go. And you can see there that it's definitely off to the left here. We've got more space on the right there. But anyway, that's, you know, that shows you how you can do the positioning and the basting stitches there. Okay, it's prompting for a thread color change. So, you know, if you wanted to do separate colored letters, you could. I'm not going to bother. I'll just carry on here, and I'll speed up the video here as well. And I'll go ahead and stitch out the other sized fonts so that you can see those in comparison to this here. We've got two other sizes there. Just a quick note on editing there. So you can edit, if we come back out of the stitch out mode there, remove the hoop, no. If we want to edit, you can select, go there and hit edit, and then you can position the cursor wherever you'd like to, add characters if you wanted to. So you could, add these characters back in. Yeah. Use the arrow keys here. So you can edit like that. You can also change the font as well. So if the font size, you could switch back to 12 here, if you wanted to. Yeah, don't think you can change it on the fly. So it looks like all of the text is, sized at the chosen font size. Yeah, okay. And then if you wanted to have a different font size, you could just go and add more text, maybe 30 here. Let's do 30. Yeah, so you've got a separate item there. Yeah, this key here is step through design. So if you have more than one design, see we've got one there and we've got one here as well, you can step through them by selecting this here, and if you hold it, it will select both, like that, or all designs. So if you had a bunch of designs, it would select the whole lot. And you've got a selection, so you can choose what hoop you want to install. So at the moment we've got the 240 by 150 hoop installed, that's millimeters, and we've got these other hoops available here. They are optional extras. So if we just delete those, delete selected, yes, and if we just go back to maybe a simple design here, let's choose something. That's the one that's showing in the manual. And of course you've got your rotate and position options here. Position, you get Alt, you've got the rotate, and rotate the design, like so. And you can pan and zoom. So you can zoom in here, left or right arrows, and you can bring this over. So zooming there. So this here, that there zooms to the hoop, and then you can zoom to the design, or zoom to all actually, that's zoom to all, and then you can zoom pan here. So you can select an area and zoom in on that specific spot there. Just like so. And you can do things like mirror as well. So let's just go back out here, cancel that, and delete that selected item, go back, let's position that down here, say, and then you can do a mirror. Yeah, that's flipping. I'll show you a little bit about the colours as well. So if we choose, well, this one's probably a good example. If we hit go here, we get a list of colours here. And if I hit this here, this is the list of colours. So 1:1 means the first design, and it's the first colour in the first design. 1:2 is the first design, the second colour. So you can see there that it runs through the different colours, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colours in this design. And you can see the colour numbers. Now they are, if you select, you can position the machine to do each colour as well. And that's actually moving the hoop when I choose each colour. So what I want to do here is I want to show you how to reposition the machine back into the last stitching position if something had gone wrong, like so the thread, top thread broke or ran out, or the bobbin thread runs out. I know the bobbin thread's not far off running out, so I can demonstrate that to you. That one there will do. That's a large design. We can see there that the hoop size there is 240 by 150. Okay, I've received this message here, bobbin thread low. Move to bobbin position, and yes, we want to do that. So I'm going to click the tick here, but I'll just show you what it does here. I'll just hit the tick button there, and the machine feeds the hoop right to the back there so that you can easily get to the changing of the bobbin here. So what we need to do is you can actually lift the hoop slightly as well, just to make it easier. Slide the bobbin cover off there. I find a pair of tweezers is quite handy for this job. Just pick up the bobbin there. You can flick it out with your finger. I just find it a bit easier with the tweezers. Grab that. We should just be able to snap that off there. I wind another bobbin here. I've got this bobbin fill here. This is a very fine white thread, specifically designed for what they call bobbin fill. So it's a 60/2 weight, and because it's on a big cone like this, I don't have my little cone stand that I normally use to sit these on and you know, use the industrial size cones with. So what I'll do is I'll just manually hold the cone here. So we've got the Singer branding on the top of the bobbin and no branding on the bottom there, and there's a reason for that, and that's because the bobbin will only go on one way. So I'll sit the bobbin on there. I'm going to hold the thread cone so I'll thread it around here just like you normally would, except I'm going to hang on to the cone. Okay, just wind that a few times around there. Go over to bobbin wind there, hit the go. And let's crank it up. Okay, there's a little cutter under there. Then slide your bobbin cover back on there, and then you can see here we've got an option to go back to current stitch position. I'll hit that. Okay, and then we can just carry on from there. You can see that it pulled the top thread along there, so it's caused this little bit of extra thread here to come out. I will trim there, then we should be able to just carry on from there. So hit the go switch and off it goes. It didn't trim the thread that time when we just took off there, and I think that probably the best option there would have been to maybe step back a few stitches to let it over stitch, you know, when the bobbin thread ran out there, just to maybe tie off there a little bit better. I'll show you how to do that next. I'm going to simulate thread breakage here. So let's just get this going again. Okay, and I'm going to simulate a thread breakage. I'm just going to cut the thread here. Error message here, check needle thread. Yep, it's definitely broken. Go ahead and rethread here. I'll just quickly rethread. Okay, so I've rethreaded there, and because the thread ran out, there's probably a loose end here. So I preferred maybe just to step back a few stitches to sew back over that and tie that loose end down. Now you can do that. First of all, we'll clear the error here. I can see we're in the right mode here. This little needle with the stitches here, that's this one here. And what you can do is you can step forward or back by using the arrows here. So we want to go back, just holding that. Now it's doing, at the start, when you first start, you could do one tap, that's one stitch at a time. You can see the counter there, counting back, one stitch at a time. if I hold it, it'll do one stitch at a time for a little bit and then it'll count in fives. Fives there now. Okay, so I've gone back probably way too far. I think I'll start there. You might be able to notice too that the tension is different now that I've changed to that finer bobbin thread. The bobbin thread's coming through here. The first thing I would do is check that the bobbin thread's threaded properly. But I'm just demonstrating, you know, this stitch positioning here, so I'm not going to worry too much about that at this stage. So there you can see how you can recover from a, you know, a thread breakage or bobbin running out. Yeah, I decided to check the bobbin tension, and yes, it's definitely incorrectly threaded. Should be able to see there that the thread's just coming straight off the bobbin, straight up through the plate there. So it's not actually hooked around the the bobbin thread tensioner. That's my fault for not threading it properly. Just have to make sure that that comes through there properly, and start again. It was just a little bit difficult with the hoop on. You can do it with a hoop on, but just, yeah, working around the camera and whatnot, that's my excuse again. I would be tempted to, you know, give the thread a little bit of a pull when it's around the back of this little plastic piece here. Hold back on the bobbin there and just allow that thread to pull down into the tensioner there. That will guarantee that it will pick up and be threaded correctly. You know, if we pick the bobbin thread up here, you can see that it should pull into the little tensioner there, and it is. That's threaded correctly there now, so it's getting tension on it now, so we should get a better result. So I stopped the embroidery and obviously took off the hoop there, so we should be able to pick up from where we left off. Yeah, that tension's looking a lot better now. So yeah, pays to keep an eye on things. Okay, finished there. Have a close look at this and we'll see the effects of the bobbin tension issue. You can see the white bobbin thread coming through, and the top tension doesn't look right. See, it's nice over here. This is where the bobbin ran out, around this area here, and you can see it's come back up here, not looking too good. All of this here, and this is where I took the hoop off here, somewhere around here, and found that the bobbin thread was not threaded correctly. Re-threaded it and got going again. You can see it's come right here now, so it's looking a lot nicer there. That's about it for this one. I hope you found that interesting. I certainly had a lot of fun exploring the Singer EM9305 embroidery machine. And thank you, as always, to my patrons on Patreon. I'm going to go ahead and stitch your names out on an embroidery as a special thank you. And if you'd like to see your name up in lights for as little as $1 a month, you can go hop across to Patreon and help support the channel there. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much.